Right, here's model paper 2, and we'll just do section 1 just now. And we'll do section 2 later on. Right, so again, section 1's always at 20 marks. So you're talking about 20 minutes to get this done. So, if you look at the first question, talking about when you download music, you download it in MP3 format, but why do people still prefer WAV format that you get in a compact disc? Now, if you look at any discs you might have, they're only 70 minutes long, okay, so this is maybe your audio CD that you might have. If you actually get a CD and you want to save MP3s on it, okay, so that would be like that's your WAV or WAV as some folks say, you actually can get up to 700 minutes, okay, so the size of an MP3 file is a tenth the size of a WAV file. Now, how they do that is they manage to do something called compression. Okay, so that's just make something smaller so you can fit more in. So if you think about it, you go on holiday, you fill up a suitcase with all your t-shirts, etc. Right? To get all your t-shirts in, you maybe crush them up to try and get more in. And then when you open your suitcase when you're on holiday, you have to get them out. And by the time you get them out, they're not quite as good as they were when they came in because they're all crushed up. You could kind of think of that as being like MP3, we find a way of reducing the size to a tenth, but when we listen to it, the quality is not as good, okay, so the audio quality isn't quite as good, right, and this is what happens with compression. With MP3, they manage to remove some of the frequencies a human ear doesn't actually register, and that just means they can reduce the file size, but when you play it, although the quality's not really bad, it is a wee bit worse than it is for a CD, and that's why when they're asking me this wee question, why do they think? Well, MP3 removes some data, while WAV has no data removed. Okay, so when we talk about removing data, that does affect the quality, although not a huge amount, but you still can notice it. Right, question 2, what type of error occurs if there's a wee spell mistake? Well, any spell mistakes is a syntax error. Okay, so that's a syntax error. 37.4 is stored in the computer. Now, don't be tempted to say, oh, that's a single, and then move on to the next question, because there's 2 marks, and they would never give you a mark for actually just coming up with a data type. What we use, and we've looked at this before, is speed of light. Okay, some folk write it like this. What's shorter? That's called your mantissa. That's your exponent. And that's how we can store numbers with decimal points. So we use the mantissa and we use exponent. Question 3, okay, sorry, question 4. There's a wee section HTML, explain why it does not show the correct formatting. Now, with HTML we use things called tags, right? And you have to, so the tags have the wee brackets here. You have to have an end tag with a start tag, so these tags should pair up. So if you actually just quickly look, you'll see that these tags match up, but there's not an end tag to this one. So the bold tag has not been closed. Okay, so that's underline tag, that's been closed, but we don't have this tag closed. So in theory, you should, not in theory, but in reality, you should have a wee tag on that just to close it. Right, question 5. State which bus pinpoints the correct memory location in memory where data is to be saved. So if we have a wee look at computer's memory, it's all split up into equal sections. So that's the memory there, and there'll be bits of data, right? So these might be people's ages. In order to get data into it, or to read data from it, you actually need to know the address, okay? So there's something called the address bus, which holds the address of the piece of memory that you're going to either put data into or take data out. So it's just like the postman or postwoman. To deliver a letter, they actually have to know the address of your house. Or if they're going to pick something up, they still need to know the address of their house. And there's a wee bus called the address bus that holds that. Okay, so you've got the address bus that holds the address of the piece of memory, and you've got the data bus, which might be taking the data from the memory or writing data to it. Okay, doing a memory read or memory write. So that's a address bus. Right. What's the purpose of a string variable in a computer? Okay, well that's to store text. You can obviously store numbers in it as well, like a car registration number. It's a mixture of text and numbers. Okay, so to store text gives you your mark there. Explain why a translator is needed for programs written in the high level language. There's another wee video on that, but just to recap, we have the computer here. Computers all understand machine code, which is like zeros and ones. You have the person here. Person could never program in that, okay, but they program in a high level language, so they might say print hello. Needs to be translated into the language the computer understands, so that's translate. So the reason why a translator is needed is to convert high level language into machine code. So the computer understands it. So the computer can understand. Right, question 8. Describe what you could change to allow you to store more photographs on your digital camera without increasing the capacity of the card. Well, there's a few things you could decrease. Resolution. Now, if you actually think about your camera, you don't really get the option to decrease the card depth, so it's normally you decrease the resolution. So you may have like megapixel, you might reduce that down to 6 megapixel. Okay, so the camera will compress your pictures anyway, so it wouldn't be compressed images, because that happens. That's why your camera might save them as a JPEG. That's a compressed file format, okay, just like MP3 was compressed, so it removes parts of the file. The quality is not quite as good as the original, but it's a way of getting more data saved on the card. Right, here's question 9. Right, so Mia's discovered next door neighbour has been accessing our wireless network. State what law next door neighbour has been breaking. Well, the law is called the Communications Act. So that is why you always should make sure that in your wireless you've got the wee lock, okay? And that just means somebody can't access your network without having the wee password key. Next one, describe how Mia can prevent her neighbours accessing a wireless network. Well, put a password on it. So to access it, you would need a password. Question 10. State an advantage that a peer-to-peer network has over a client-server network. Okay. So peer-to-peer, that's when all the computers are pretty much the same, right? Peer-to-peer. Spelled wrongly. Okay, peer-to-peer, so you have all these computers all connected to each other. So if you've got a friend with an Xbox and you've got an Xbox and you connect them together, you formed a wee peer-to-peer network. Or if you've got a couple of computers at home connected together, maybe attached a printer as well. Okay, that's a peer-to-peer network. Client server one, that's quite often used in schools or in companies. You have a main computer that holds maybe all the files to access, and then you have all your clients. So this is a client server network, and they're all connected. It's very good for having a centralized backup regime, which just means that this might back up all the computers. If it's a peer-to-peer network, you'd actually have to back them all up separately, which is a bit of a pain, especially if you have quite a lot of them. Okay, I think I'll just change this. Right, client server. If I want new software installed, I just need to install it in the server and it'll put it onto the clients. With this one, you actually have to install it individually. Okay, client server, again, I might have usernames and passwords, so it can be a lot more secure, because when they log in, they'll have a wee database here that will actually hold your username and password, and if they match up, then it'll let you in. Peer-to-peer, you're pretty much on the same computer, and quite often they won't be password protected. Okay, however, there are benefits to that, because if you think about all you're doing is having 3 computers here, put in a wee printer, a client server, you've actually got, you're paying for extra hardware. And server doesn't come cheap, and you have to have extra software on your server. Okay, so the server is expensive, has a lot of benefits to a peer-to-peer, but it comes at a cost. Okay, so why you'd have a peer-to-peer network over a client server network? Well, it'll be no additional hardware or software required. Right, question 11. Okay, so there's a wee database used to store a group of family and friends. Not quite sure what these lines are for. Describe what process would result in the solution being martindale. Okay, so if we find martindale, there's martindale there. What would you have to search for in order for martindale to be the result? Okay, well, martindale, what towns you live in, right? So you'd search maybe Townfield for Inverness, right? So you'd say search Townfield for Inverness. Which gives you a few other Invernesses. Okay, and another one you'd search, so you wouldn't be searching for Martindale, you'll just be searching, you might say date of birth field. Okay, the result of the search gives you Martindale, so they're saying, well, what would a person have searched for in order to give you it? It's not the best of questions, to be honest. Okay, but and date of birth field, date of, so this is a complex search, date of birth field for a birth date less than the 1st of the 1st 1996. Okay, so if you actually put this search in, okay, so if you're searching, because we've got another Inverness here, Inverness, and that's it. Okay, so if we search for Townfield for Inverness, date of birth field for less than the 1st of the 1st 1996, and you probably never even saw me writing that down because it was out of the site, then that should give you Martindale. Normally they explain it a wee bit better, but that's not the best explained, that question. Okay, no offence to the person who wrote it. Right, Question 12. Pseudocode below shows a program that calculates the average monthly temperature. Explain what needs to be changed that take account of days with 31 days. Right, so loop 1 to 30, well, that makes this loop go 30 times, so obviously that 30 needs to change. Right, so we've got line 2. Okay, change 30 to 31, so that should be 31. And we've got the same with line 6, so line 6, change 30 to 31. So that's your 2 marks there. Right, question 13. Describe the type of user who would benefit from the user interface which has few options and large icons. Well, maybe if you're visually impaired, so you're not able to see your kind of typical icons, you need them enlarged, and quite often maybe small children, they might not have quite the coordination to click on smaller icons, but they're just asking you to describe. Okay, so visually impaired, eyesight problems. And the last question is question 14. Explain the reasons. What type of computer system would be most suited to be traveling for a traveling salesman to be showing images of their latest products? Okay. Well, they're just showing images, so it doesn't really say the person really needing to type. You could come up with a couple of examples as long as you justify it and you explain. The example solution is talking about use a tablet, it's portable, and a keyboard is not necessary. But you could come up with other ideas as long as you're actually justifying your choice. And that is the end of section 1.